Alrighty guys, today we're going to be tying the Ultra Shrimp. We're going to start off with a SA280 in size number 1. This is a Rex hook, and the thread we're going to be using is Danville Mono thread in .006, which is AKA fine. What we're going to do, I made my own eyes out of mono. And I just burned them with a lighter, colored them with a magic marker, and covered them with UV, and gives you a beautiful little eye. What I'm going to do here with the eye, I'm going to do about a hook shank length forward, and I'm going to crisscross it just like that. Once it's secured on there, on that crisscross, I'm going to go under the hook and then over the mono, under, over, and under the mono. Once that's all secured in there, as soon as I take my next wrap backwards towards back the hook eye, that extra mono piece will just lay right against the shank. Now when you do the second one here, because of the way your tension goes on to the shank, that little piece will tend to go downwards. But you're going to see it here when I put this next one. Same thing, I'm just going to put it on crisscross applesauce. And that way those eyes are splayed out and we get a pretty little like V shape. I'm going to go under the hook shank and over, and I'm just going to secure it just like dumbbell eyes kinda. Once it's on there, like I said, then you're going to grab it and start going backwards. But this thing's going to, because of your tension of the thread, as I said, it's going to want to go under. So you might want to use your hands and just place it right next to the shank, so it stays on there and you get a nice wide coverage, get a nice wide body, and bring that all the way back to the hook eye here. Once it's on there, just add some Zap-A-Gap and get that mono to cinch together and just blend together. This pattern is like a guide pattern. I absolutely love this. It is one of the most effective patterns that I use for striped bass this time of the year. The Ultra Shrimp in this color is just phenomenal. I tie many different shrimps, but this one, for some reason, this time of the year, is just a grand slam every day, all night long, all day long. Whenever the strippers are on them, this is the key to happiness of you catching a lot of fish. So once that dried, then we're going to come in with that chenille. I'm going to strip off a little bit here, because I want to be able to tie in that rope. And this is, like as I'm showing, it's Fulling Mill chenille. Stuff is pretty good. It's nice and sparkly. It's going to give you a beautiful translucency throughout your fly. And I'm just going to tie that rope in so I don't get a lot of that dazzle tied in. It's just a rope, and just bring my thread all the way down to the hook eye. Everything ends at the hook eye. It's usually the other way around, but this time it's at the hook eye. I'm going to wrap it, and on the second turn, I'm going to give it a good tight wrap. I want it to really cinch on there. It is partial synthetic, so I really want to make sure that it gets on there pretty good. I'm going to bring it all the way to the back of the hook eye and then tie it off. I'm not leaving too much of a gap there at all, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch between the hook eye and the material. But what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to build a little thread base here and also lock that chenille in. The thread base is going to be covering our next two materials that we're going to put on there. The first thing that we're going to put on is the Coq de Leon. Light Pardo I like for this, and I use about the top 2/3 of the feather. The fibers are stiff, and also they have that tan look to them, so it looks way better than Silly Legs. I'm going to advance my thread to about the back of the eyes here, and then I'm going to start wrapping this, and I'm going to take about 4 to 5 turns. Sometimes if you want to get crazy, you could do 6 turns, but 4 to 5 turns is perfectly plenty. Switch hands here and just go ahead and tie that in. Once it's tied in, just bring your thread all the way back to the hook eye. This is locking all of that feather down, and then I'm going to come in and trim off the excess and give that shrimp a little haircut up top, as well as the sides. So we're going to have all the feathers just pretty much on the bottom. I don't want any on the sides or the top, because we're going to be putting the next material on there. It's just going to allow it to sit a little better, and it's going to really just next couple of steps is really just going to like cinch it down. So here we have Supreme hair in tan. And I want to get just enough fibers to where I could see through it, but not to the point where I can't see through it at all, or see through it too much. I'm going to take it just past the eyes. I measured it up, cut it off, and then we're going to go ahead and tie it on there. I want to have it, the Supreme hair, a little past the hook eye, because that's like your little shrimp tail. It's going to end up being flat. The rest of it's going to be kind of like a wedge, like a triangular. So do not grab it from the top and the bottom of that stack. You want to grab it on the sides. But I'm going to do a two whip finishes with 4 turns, about that. 3 turns is perfectly fine as well. I just want to make sure that mono gets locked in. Mono doesn't have any grip to it, so you just definitely want to do a double. Cut off your thread, and now we're going to start adjusting that Supreme hair. What I'm doing here, I'm just pulling it, and I'm making sure that all the fibers are good together, that it looks good, and see the way I'm pinching it right there on each side of the eye? That's the way you want to pinch it. You do not want to pinch it top to bottom, because just like that, you don't want to pinch it top to bottom. You want to grab the sides and pull it. That way you get like a little wedge look. So I'm going to start with UV Thick from Loon. I'm going to start it between the eyes and just work it down all the way to my thread wraps. And you're going to see me kind of like push it down a little bit here. I really do want to get into those fibers and into the chenille, so that way everything stays together, because after 15-20 fish and a bunch of casting throughout the evening, you don't want this fly to fall apart. I make these flies durable, and some of them have been lasting 2 to 3 seasons. I even have one that I found a couple days ago that's from like 5 years ago. So they are durable, they work, and they're great. So once the thick is done on there, I see little stragglers that's sticking out to the side, so I'm just going to give it a quick haircut here before we go to my next step. I like Copic markers, regular like permanent markers. They're not the greatest because they're not they're not waterproof, and I'm going to trim that shrimp nose on an angle there to give it a real life look of a shrimp there. But I like the Copic markers. There's another brand also that you could get, but permanent markers are not waterproof, so they will wash out eventually. These will hold really good. And as you can see in my hackle there's like barring along the side, so I'm just putting little black dots on top to camouflage the shrimp as they do look in nature. So once that's on there, then I'm going to come in with Loon Flow, or you could use Solaris Bone Dry, whichever one you prefer. I like the Loon Flow because it doesn't smell as bad as the Bone Dry. And just lightly coat it. You just want to make sure it's not tacky. Cover any spots maybe you missed with your thick, and then hit it with the UV light. Once you're done with the UV light, then you're pretty much done with the shrimp. That's it. There's, like I said earlier in the video, I do plenty of other shrimps, so if you want to see other shrimp, please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and if you tie this fly and you catch some fish on it, definitely tag me on Instagram. It's Hooked on the Fly too. And until next time, you guys be good and be safe.